There is a substantial difference between strategy. Why do so many companies have a great strategic idea, but just can't seem to get to that end goal? Why is it so hard to get things done? Many organizations fail at strategy execution because the gap between promises made and results achieved is too wide. Strategy execution requires an organization to master a specific set of values and behaviors. This gives an organization a competitive advantage, since actions that are wholly integrated into your business processes can't be imitated. The execution process can be viewed as a set of connected actions that enable strategy fulfillment when all is working smoothly. But without careful planning, you may meet barriers that prevent strategy execution. There is a substantial difference between strategy planning and execution. Creating strategy is a lot easier than executing it. In this course, you'll learn about the cornerstones of effective business strategy execution: correct leadership behavior, having people in the right roles, and creating a culture of execution. You'll begin by reviewing the reasons why executing business strategy is difficult. First, you'll become familiar with the drivers to strategy execution. Then, you'll review some common barriers to strategy execution. You'll also learn to recognize leadership behavior that's conducive to delivering results. And you'll determine if an organization, leaders, middle management, and the workforce is displaying characteristics that support strategy execution and has people in the right roles. Then, you'll learn what a culture of execution entails and the 4 steps to create a culture that promotes business execution. With this knowledge, you'll be able to determine if your company meets the conditions that facilitate strategy execution. Daryl is a manager with a flooring distributor. Select the learning aid, Daryl's Leadership Characteristics, to review details about his strategy execution. In what ways did Daryl display characteristics conducive? Which examples illustrate difficulties to executing strategy in an organization? Malcolm, the Vice President of Marketing, and the employees at a clothing manufacturer are working to execute a green initiative. Select the learning aid, Clothing Retailer Strategy Execution, to review the roles and responsibilities of a leader, line managers, and the workforce during strategy execution. Which statements illustrate how Malcolm exhibits leadership behavior? Which statements identify how management and the workforce meet their responsibilities? A pharmaceutical company has created a strategy to focus on product innovation. However, the rest of the company feels it's the R&D department's job to come up with new ideas. Select the Pharmaceutical Company Culture of Execution Learning Aid to review how the software developer created a culture of execution. How did the CEO provide vision and impetus? How does the pharmaceutical company educate? How does the CEO communicate with and reward employees as a part of the new culture? Planning and execution are integrally linked. While planning provides the foundation for strategy and is a time-consuming and important task, it doesn't get the job done. The execution of a business strategy, the follow-through, is what truly determines success or failure. Strategy is executed over time by managers in every level of a company as they commit resources, programs, people, and facilities to the business strategy. So business leaders concerned with strategy execution need to know who controls which resources and who has the most influence on strategy execution. To effectively drive business strategy execution, company leaders need to know the company inside and out and discover who actually makes the key decisions. Leaders may not be aware that they're allocating resources in a way that doesn't align with business strategy execution. You need to pinpoint and then influence those managers whose decisions drive or inhibit business strategy execution. This way you can ensure your managers are allocating resources in a way that aligns with the organization's strategy. For example, company leaders at a clothing wholesaler want a new product line promoted internationally. However, some key sales managers insist on focusing on the national market, where they don't have to make new contacts to guarantee sales. How important do you think strategy execution is to the role of company leaders? Business strategy execution is the critical business issue and central to the executive role. While strategy execution is difficult, it shouldn't be viewed as unmanageable. Rather, business strategy execution should be viewed as the main plan that, if followed, allows the organization to attain its goals. But what drives strategy execution? As execution is embedded in the fabric of business, numerous factors are at work. Whether a company strives to have a high-performance culture or create and communicate a clear strategy, alignment with organizational goals or speed and ability to make important decisions can help. Employee engagement and capability, paired with execution-focused leadership, ensures everyone's on the same page. Customer demand also drives strategy execution, and effective allocation of resources is central to success. Select each driver of strategy execution to learn more about it. Companies that tend to have high performance in revenue growth, profitability, and customer satisfaction often have existing skills that enable strategy execution. Also, companies that have high performance results are often better at clearly communicating. If a company can attain clarity when communicating business strategy, it'll be better able to execute the strategy. But companies must be aware of the difference between understanding. Ensuring your strategy is aligned with company vision and goals helps to drive execution. A business strategy that supports the mission of an organization as well as unit goals. Like clear communication, companies value the ability to make quick decisions and act when an opportunity arises. But it's a difficult practice to master. Companies must be able to. Successful strategy execution requires all employees, at all levels in a company, to be engaged and capable. Employees must feel included, interested. Companies can use succession planning to groom leaders with strategy execution skills. This ties in with the idea that the demands of customers are consistently driving business strategy execution, especially as technology is growing and changing at some. How company resources are allocated is another driver, and sometimes barrier, to business strategy execution. Which examples illustrate drivers of strategy execution? Given that the drivers are so complex, execution of strategy can be a difficult and obstacle-ridden business. Think about your own experience of executing. You may have cited unclear plans, lack of employee understanding, and a strategy that doesn't address the skills and needs of employees as barriers to strategy execution. One of the most important drivers of strategy execution is having a clear, well-communicated strategy. Moving ahead with strategy execution without a clear plan is a common barrier. You can't accomplish strategy execution if your plan doesn't consider the resources available in your company. A lack of resources is a chief barrier to execution. Important, too, is the consideration of the demands of your customers, the business environment. In order to successfully execute a plan, an organization must ensure its strategy is communicated through the entire organization and ensure departmental goals align with organizational goals. For example, a smartphone manufacturer introduced a strategy to upgrade its products in response to customers' requests. Company leaders failed to liaise properly with the technology department, so they weren't fully aware of the company's technological and financial limitations. The technology. Which examples illustrate difficulty? Your people must know the plan. If you don't communicate strategy clearly, your employees won't understand how their daily tasks contribute to strategy execution. This is the second barrier to strategy execution. When this happens, the company can suffer from the silo effect. In other words, departments act independently of each other and focus on their own goals, rather than being engaged and capable of implementing change initiatives across the organization. You must ensure employees have a clear vision of the business strategy, understand their unique role in achieving it, and are actively engaged. For example, executives at a call center want the company to be at the top of its market in customer service. To effectively realize this strategic plan, the company must ensure all employees understand their role in achieving it. Customer service representatives play an obvious role, but other employees, such as those in the IT department, must also understand how their role helps execute strategy too. The third barrier to execution arises when the strategy doesn't address employee skills and needs and doesn't provide a way to reward performance. You should align your performance measures and reward system with your business strategy. This will ensure your employees. Making sure you have execution-focused leaders is also important. There's often a conflict when making decisions between what's good for the company and what's good for the team during strategy execution. For example, a software testing company is implementing a business strategy to keep it competitive. It's integrating existing with emerging technology, but the organization isn't providing employees with the technical resources. Which examples illustrate difficulty? Execution is a complex business and has various driving factors. High-performance companies usually have the skills in place to drive successful strategy execution. Also, the creation and communication of a clear strategy that's aligned with organizational vision and goals can effectively drive strategy execution. A company with the speed and ability to act quickly and make decisions is usually better equipped for execution. Companies must also secure employee engagement and capability.